everyone, welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. I am very excited to be back and doing this. There is a lot that we are going to cover today. It has been a while because I have been on a little bit of a hiatus, and even though my intention was to work on my novel and just to read books and take some time for myself, it's been very interesting because I have actually been doing a lot. You know that John Lennon saying that life happens when you're busy making other plans? Well, that's exactly what happened, and Spirit kind of laughed at me when I said, hey, I'm just going to take it easy. Well, in that stillness, that's actually when we are deeply connected to ourselves, and that's when we really allow life to unfold. And I realized that as a lot was coming in over this past month, not just within my own integration and my own journey, but with regards to what it is that we're creating here at Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections and how we're continuing to evolve. So this month, coming up in February, if you're watching this, it is February, or it's the last day of January as I'm recording this, so we are coming back from our hiatus. So we are going to be kicking off February with our energy updates and collective readings. We are also going to be having a new Sacred Circle community call, which is our live streams where we discuss ascension energies and current events. We also do either light language transmission or group meditation. That is here on YouTube, and you can join via the join button on my page. We do that once a month, the first of the month. You can always go to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections or susandawnspiritual.com to our page on the Sacred Circle community to learn more about what it is and what we're doing. And then I am so excited because all of a sudden I got a download with how to bring both of my worlds together. If you guys know, I'm also a fiction author. I have been for many, many years. And my novels also talk about transformation and identity and healing and growth and love and life, and I never quite knew how to bridge those two, my spiritual work with my novels and my personal writing, and Spirit brought it to me. I am very happy to introduce The Mystic and the Muse, my new Substack, which is a home now for both my Susan Dawn Spiritual blog as well as my personal / author blog for creative expression and soul stories. And I have hundreds of free posts and an archive of my personal writings and story, and everything is now housed at themysticandthemuse.info. So I'll put the link to everything in the description box, so you can feel free to check it out. I'm going to be doing much more writing over there, which includes teachings around twin flames, sacred union, the ascension journey, soul growth, etc. Plus all of my creative expression, poetry, and soul stories is what I call it, and soul sayings. So if you are interested in supporting, make sure that you sign up as either a free subscriber, or if you want to go deeper and unlock the exclusive posts, then you can become a paid subscriber. It's only $5 a month or $3 a month if you subscribe for the year. So thank you guys for that support. I am so excited to be getting back to my roots as a writer. So let's get into the reading today. As I was tuning in, as I was driving today, I felt like I was deeply connecting to my own counterpart and was really feeling a softer energy coming through, a very loving energy coming through. And it really feels like we are connecting to the higher selves of our counterparts. And that's where your union is. When you are connecting on that higher heart, when you are connecting within that soul space, that is where your union will always reside, because that is the pure love. It's just our human selves that get caught up in the everyday, or that gets caught up in the past patterns or the triggers or the friction of the stress of being human. And what I like to do here at Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections is recognize what it means to be human within a spiritual context, because we can be as spiritual as we are, but it means nothing if we're not applying that to our human life, because we're still human beings and we're meant to be living a human life. We're meant to be exploring humanity within that spiritual context, for sure, recognizing ourselves as divine, recognizing ourselves as spiritual beings, but bringing that into our 3D experiences and allowing ourselves to live, to explore, to even play And that's where our ascension journey teaches us. It teaches us how to come home to ourselves and what it means to be that bridge between both worlds. And when we're talking about it from a dualistic perspective, it's not either or. It's not I have to bypass my human life in order to be a spiritual being, or I have to be so spiritual that I forget my human life, or that I'm so grounded in my human life that I forget that I'm a spiritual being. It's not either or. It's recognizing that middle way. That's what our ascension journey teaches us. It recognizes that we are the middle path. It recognizes that we are the bridge between both. And so we, in that essence, transcend that duality. And so when we're connecting, particularly with our counterparts, we are connecting on that bridge. What I called and channeled many, many years ago, the bridge of the heart. We had channeled the phrase, meet me on the bridge of the heart. And that is where your ascension will always be. That's where your sacred union will always be. And so there's a soft energy that's coming through here, and I do feel like there is a lot of connection and communication that is happening within the soul space. And you might actually be seeing that play out in your physical world, where you're having reconciliations and meetings and conversations with your counterpart in the physical. But if you're not, don't take that as a failure. Don't take that as a lack. Don't fall into that old paradigm. You are and always have been in union, and nothing in your physical world is going to validate or disregard that. Nothing in your physical world is simply a reflection. Nothing is going to take that union away from you, whether there is communication or not communication. So I don't want you to compare your journey, and I don't want you to use your physical experiences as I'm doing something right or I'm doing something wrong, because that is an old human perspective. That is not the case at all. Your union comes from within you, and it is always within you. And so there's a divine unfolding that's at play, I don't want to call it divine timing and alignment that's at play. There's always more that's happening energetically, more that's happening that you can't see underneath the surface. There's more happening energetically. There's a force field, or an energetic field, we'll call it, that's happening underneath the surface. They're showing me like this is our physical world, right? And right underneath that is an energy that is moving things along. And you might not be able to see all the missing pieces. You might not be able to see how everything is interconnected, how everything is playing a part. That's why you're not meant to take your physical world so literally. You're not meant to take it so seriously. You're not meant to take it as the be-all, end-all. There is always more that is happening. There is always more energetically. So when it comes to your counterpart connection, please don't judge yourself or your connection based on what is happening or not happening in your physical world. Please don't judge whether you're in union or not based on what is happening or not happening in your physical world. And keep tuning into the union that has always been part of you, that is always with you. As I was driving, I got a lot of downloads when it came to music. And it was very interesting because out of a playlist of dozens and dozens and dozens of songs, 3 songs came on in succession. The first was I Am Not Who I Was by Chance Pena. The second was Luca Fogali, I think is how you call his name, Worthy of Love. And then the third was Tracy Chapman, Promises. And it was interesting. The album name is actually called New Beginnings. And I feel like that is extremely relevant for the energy that we have been channeling in recent Sacred Union energy updates and picking up on, and what is coming forth now with this softer energy. And there's something specific about Chance Pena's song that I want to bring up. So the lyrics are, I think about you every night, wonder what would have been like if I stuck around and settled down, maybe in another life. So if I fly too far, will I still have a place inside your heart? And when you see what I've become, will you love me for who I am, not who I was? So give those songs a listen. I will, if I'm able, if I can find them, put YouTube links in the description box. And see how that resonates for you. The energy that I was picking up on was the higher self speaking to each other. So this is not necessarily about your physical experience. And as you know here, we tend to go higher. We tend to connect to the higher selves when it comes to the twin flames and twin flame journey. But I feel like this is really the higher selves connecting with each other and saying, just remember love. regardless of what is happening or has happened in our physical experience, remember the love that was always the current underneath. I've shared this example before, and I'm going to share it again because this is how I knew that it was something different. This is how I knew that it was something that was a soul connection, that was on a soul level. I mean, there were many experiences, there were many examples, but this is one that I kept coming back to. That no matter what my counterpart and I experienced, no matter if we argued, if there was friction, if there was tension, no matter what it was, the fact that we kept coming back to forgiveness, the fact that all of that tense energy would somehow just dissipate, would just fade away, and we would always come back to love. Always. And that's how I knew it was a deep soul connection. Because I could feel the energy of that love. I could feel the energy of that forgiveness underneath everything that was being experienced in the physical. And again, what makes this journey complex is that we as humans are complex. We get angry. We feel judgment. We feel defensive. We get into our egos, right? And that's fair. That it's not about judging yourself. It's not about being perfect. But it's about recognizing through these layers of consciousness as we grow, as we heal, as we ascend along our journey, recognizing the energy underneath. And that is what you tune into. Not just how it's playing out in the physical or what's being said, but what is the energy underneath. And what is being said, or the behaviors and the actions, they do have to align as you heal, as you grow. There has to be growth there. There has to be expansion. There has to be an evolution of the being, an evolution of the soul, an evolution of the human self, right? But it's the energy that you keep tuning into. So that's what makes it so complex, this journey, and that's even what makes it painful. But the pain is not the journey. The pain is all of our old patterns that come up, that show us the illusion of who we are, so that we can clear it, so that we can heal it, so that we can keep moving forward. All right, let's get into our reading. And speaking of healing and speaking of clearing, I'm running a workshop this weekend on Sunday, February 2nd at 2 o'clock p.m., which is very auspicious, considering it is 222 portal date. So if you are interested, we have a workshop that is going to be talking about understanding karma and how it shapes your experiences, third parties and karmic connections, especially in twin flame relationships, and how to shift from karma to dharma. We'll have a group collective light language transmission for clearing karma, as well as a bonus, which I have just decided to do, a fun activity about calculating your karmic debt number and what that means. If you are part of our sacred membership, you have access to this workshop already, and if you register now, then you will get the discount. A replay will be available after the workshop. All right, you can check that out on our website, SusanDawnSpiritual.com, or in our Ascension Connections portal. All right, let's see what is going on for these counterparts. Time to go. Ooh, I like that energy. Let's see what's going on for the feminine. There's movement for the masculine. Definite movement for the masculine. Okay, I'm going to get into that in a second. Tell me more about the feminine. What do we need to know for the feminine? Between worlds and the union energies in between them, please. What's the union energies between them? Chaos and conflict. Awesome. And what I like about this is go the distance. This is it. This is your journey. This is where you have come. You've come so far. What? Oh my gosh, what are they singing to me? Is that from Hercules? I can go the distance. I can't remember. Okay. They're singing the song to me. They're singing me a melody, and I think it's from the song, from the Disney movie Hercules. I can go the distance. That's what this feels like. It feels like you have come so far already, and you've been tested. You've been tried. There has been chaos. There has been conflict, but your journey has been the mirror for you. It's been catalyzing you for the clearing, for the healing, to release those illusions. That's what the chaos and the conflict has been for. I was working with a client this week, a mentoring client, and we were talking about how we always have to look at the energy of things and what is being shown to us. What is this chaos? What is this conflict that we're experiencing actually showing us? And looking at it as an opportunity to see more about ourselves. And what was beautiful was that she had experienced a lot of chaos and a lot of conflict within her connection, but she also saw how that was necessary to bring her to a place of her own personal empowerment, to have boundaries, to express herself, and she recognized the difference within herself. She recognized the difference within her own energy, and that the chaos and the conflict was, number one, pushing her into that more, but also that it was reflecting to her where any of those holes were, where any of the places where she had been holding herself back still was. That's what this journey is. This journey is always going to be a reflection to move you into more and more of your growth, more and more of your expansion, and more of your healing. And so rather than looking at chaos and conflict as like a negative thing, which I guess, again, in our human construct, we can look at it as opportunities to continue to heal, to continue to grow. And what happens when you look at it from that new perspective, from that higher perspective, all that chaos and that conflict begins to change, begins to shift, and begins to fade away. Because you begin to shift, you begin to change. And that's what shifts the energy. So that's what going the distance means. It means that you might have been tested, you might have been tried. You have been going through your initiations to be brought here to this place where you are looking at your journey, you're looking at your counterpart, you're looking at your connection from a new perspective, from the perspective of love versus pain, from the perspective of healing and growth versus lack and scarcity. Now, they're bringing me to the masculine now, and that is what the masculine is understanding, and that's what this time to go energy feels like. I also, as I was taking out these cards, I saw the card building blocks, and that felt very connected to the divine masculine, because I feel like they are putting building blocks in their lives, and this is a message that has been coming through for the past even 6 months, where it really feels like there is some kind of strategy in place. Strategy might not be the right word, but it feels like they are putting things into place, either in their own mind as far as like planning who they want to be, what they want their life to look like, how they want their life to go versus how it was going. All these past Sacred Union energy updates, I'm not going to keep reiterating it, but all these past Sacred Union energy updates, these readings build upon those. So where they had been over the past 6 months, this is building upon that. And it's that building block. It's they are building upon everything they've been learning, building upon everything that they are becoming, who they know themselves to be now versus who they thought they were, or who they were expected to be, or who they thought they expected themselves to be. In that lack, in that scarcity, in that feeling of unworthiness, right? Now there's a newfound sense of connection to themselves, connection to faith, connection to God, connection to counterpart, connection to all. It's all interconnected. It's not just one thing or another. It's all interconnected. And so there's this movement that's happening because they're putting these plans into place. Now, this could be actually in the physical, where they are looking for jobs, or looking for new homes, or looking for shifting relationships or relationship dynamics, healing, mending, where they are working on their finances, where they are whatever it is that needs to be kind of put into place, that needs to be aligned. That's all it is. It's an alignment. So whatever it is that they're working on, they're kind of putting things into place. And that could be inwards too, something that's happening within them. Because if they're shifting within, then you're going to shift without. There's nothing that happens in your physical world that doesn't stem from something inside of you. A belief, a perspective, an understanding, a sense of identity. And so as they're shifting from lack, for example, from lack, that was their identity, lack and scarcity and unworthiness. As they're shifting from that, well, now they're putting things into place in their physical world that reflects abundance, that reflects worthiness. I am worthy. That reflects that newfound sense of confidence and belief in oneself, not from ego, but from the pure place of the heart, the pure place from the soul. And so, for example, it could be recognizing your worth, and so you are either getting a new job, or trying for a promotion, or negotiating your salary to get what you're worth. It's that kind of energy. It's the physical reflects how you feel about yourself. And so that's what this feels like. This feels like movement. This time to go. I really like this card because this time to go is like, it is time to move. It is time to make that change. I've been doing the inner work. I have been transforming within myself. It is now time that I reflect that, or see that reflected in my physical world. Now, I don't feel like the masculine always has conscious words for this, for what is happening internally and all of this. We as divine feminines have a bigger perspective and have the language of this journey to kind of put these pieces into place. Most masculines, I'm not going to say all, but most masculines don't have that language. In order to understand what it is that's happening inside of themselves, which is urging them to make changes in their lives, especially because the masculines are very grounded, and they are very physically present. So they interact more with the physical world, and that they are the ones that are maybe, getting the jobs or finances in place, and maybe not entirely understanding why it is that they're doing it, but that's them tuning into their intuition. And the more they tune into their intuition, the more they're going to recognize it. Again, maybe not having the language of this is my intuition, but they're going to recognize that connection to self. They're going to honor that connection to the self, and that's going to continue to move them forward. So this time to go feels amazing. It's like they're heading in a new direction. And this direction feels very much in alignment with their sacred self. This feels very much like conscious masculine energy. All right, let's move over to no, before we get that, I just want to talk about the lyrics again, because I feel like that Chance Pena song really connected with me, and what I feel like the masculine and the feminine are talking about together. I feel like the divine masculine might be asking, will I still have a place inside your heart? When you see what I've become, will you love me for who I am, not who I was? It's that energy of beginnings that we've been channeling for a while now. Letting go of the past, allowing yourself to let go of the past so that the new can come through. If you are subscribed to my new Mystic and the Muse blog, I just did a post about the twin flame path and how the twin flame path shifts and changes. And in it, I shared my own experience of having a dream where there was a masculine, my masculine, and another masculine. Basically, what I was asking, what my subconscious was asking in the dream was, is this my masculine? Am I releasing the old version of my masculine? Am I allowing myself to let go of who he was so that he can become the conscious masculine? And so allowing yourself to let go of the past is actually what allows for the new energy to come through. And that's all the clearing and the healing that we do. It's releasing the past so that we can grow and expand, but we also have to give our counterparts that grace too. And we've talked about that for many years now, but it's really coming to light now, especially as there are new beginnings, especially as there are reunions and reconciliations, especially as we are really picking up on this momentum of union energy, particularly in the physical. And so I feel like this was both counterparts that were asking this. The divine feminine asking too, if I fly too far, will I still have a place in your heart? If I continue to grow, if I continue to expand, will you still be there? Will you be beside me like I want you to be? If I continue to grow and I continue to expand and I continue to fly as I know I'm meant to as a divine feminine, will you love me for who I am and not just who I was? So this is where I feel like both counterparts are talking to each other with regards to their higher self. especially if you have been in non-communication, especially if you have been in no contact or perceived separation. Remember, separation is an illusion. Separation is something that you create within yourself. You are and always have been in union. You're not looking at the physical for proof whether you're in union. Union is something that you discover, remember, find within yourself, anchor in within yourself, so that you're never separate, no matter if there is space or time or distance between you two. There is never a separation. They're calling me to this, so I'm going to mention it, and it's very interesting. I didn't realize this at the time. I wrote this book 6 months before I met my counterpart. It's called Lilac in Winter. And I woke up one morning and I had one phrase in my mind. My name is Lilac Sophia Carpenter and I'm 16 years old. I'm going to be 16 years old for the rest of my life. And in 3 weeks, I wrote that book, which is unheard of for me. 3 weeks of utter clarity. I channeled that book. All I did for 3 weeks was write. Now, I didn't publish it for another 2 years. And I obviously added to it and polished it up and etc. But the foundation remains the same. And one of my friends, one of my best friends, who's also an author, she read the book and she's like, but she dies at the end. And that's not a spoiler. It's literally right there in the first sentence. She's like, but she dies in the end. Like, there's no happily ever after. And I said, I know. I said, but that's the book. The book is all about the life. She daydreams. She has chronic or a terminal illness. She daydreams the life that she could have lived and wanted to live with this boy who is her best friend. And I didn't realize until my ascension journey, until after I met my counterpart, that this is a twin flame story. And now, like, my best friend asks, well, how can it be a twin flame story if they're not together? But the thing is, no time, no distance, no space, not even death can take you away from each other, because love never dies. Love is never separate. And as humans, we pass away. As humans, we're not always going to be physically incarnated here. And now I know this is a very sensitive subject. I know that there are some of you who your counterpart is on the other side, or your person has passed away. Or, there might be a time wound there of not having enough time with your person. I've certainly felt that myself. But the thing is that your union is always with you and always part of you. And love is always there and always present. And so this book actually healed something within me. And I'm actually writing the sequel from Nathan's point of view, who is Lilac's best friend and love interest, so to speak. And what happens after. And the connection, how that connection continues. So I'm actually working on that now. And it's very healing too. But I bring that up because, well, number one, Spirit told me to, but also because it's just to show that union is not dependent on the physical. Your twin flame relationship is not, or connection is not dependent on the physical. Your twin flame connection is sacred. Your twin flame connection is love. And your twin flame connection is not reliant on whether or not you are together. It is not reliant on whether or not it looks a certain way. Don't hold yourself back thinking it has to look a certain way or it has to be a certain way. That's where this between two worlds seems to be coming in. I feel like there is, for the divine feminine, a real shift in perspective and a real shift in understanding this journey. And for some, it's going to relate to everybody in a little bit of a different way. For some, you're moving out of what I call the twin flame matrix and into the higher heart ascension. For others, you are deepening your connection to your counterpart. You're deepening your sense of union within you in that higher heart ascension. And so you're going even deeper into that love. And so you might be between two worlds where there was an old version of how you viewed the connection and a new version, which is just love, which is just peace, which is just whatever is happening in the physical world. There is just love there, just love. And there is no right or wrong way to do this journey. It is about your path, your understanding. It is about your expression, your experiences. It is about your unfolding. but keep coming back to love. Keep coming back to the love and your own inner knowing of that love, of your connection, rather than focusing so much on the physical as the be-all end-all. The physical is just a reflection. It's just a reflection of beliefs we hold, fears we hold, perspectives we hold. And we can shift that at any moment. So, okay, so I was called to bring that up for a reason, and I feel like it was because, I can't remember anymore, but I feel like it was because no space, no time, no distance. Yeah. No space, no time, no distance. It just is love. It just is love. So, between two worlds, divine feminines, again, I feel like you are going deeper within yourself and deeper into understanding of what this connection is and connecting to the higher self, and connecting within the spiritual roots of your journey and the spiritual roots of yourself. And that's where true love comes in. True love, true peace, true alignment, where you're connecting to your authentic self. And everything feels effortless. I was just talking to somebody the other day where I can't believe I'm this version of myself. 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I never would have thought in a million years that I would feel so connected to myself and so connected to love and so in alignment with my life. And sure, it's not everything that I want in my life, in my physical life, but I am happy. And the fact that I can be this present and happy and at peace and still feel connected and in love, it's remarkable, regardless of what is happening in the physical. It's remarkable because it's all within. It is literally all within. And nurturing that inner world is what brings all that peace and all that happiness and all that love into our physical world. It's all within. I cannot emphasize that enough. And it's only when you allow that journey to take shape and we're not in resistance to that aspect of the journey that we allow ourselves to be that bridge. Again, that's what it is. It's the bridge. Alignment is the bridge. The bridge is alignment. It's alignment with our soul self and our human self. And when you feel aligned, man, it is just pure peace. You feel it in every fiber of your being. It's just pure peace. And so there might be a little bit of a back and forth energy as you are getting into that alignment, as you are moving into that next level and that next phase of yourself. But that's where you allow yourself to keep surrendering. Don't resist the unfolding of that. Don't resist the process. Just keep allowing that energy to move. All right, I'm really curious to see how you're feeling about each other. Let's take a look at how's the masculine connecting with and feeling about the feminine. How's the masculine connecting with and feeling about the feminine? I'm going to use this deck. How's masculine connecting with and feeling about the feminine? King of Wands. This is that fiery energy. This is that movement energy. Time to go. It's time. It's time. It's almost like it's time to wake up. But wake up, I don't like that phrase. It's like it's time to go. It's time to get going. It's time to get moving. It's almost like what I'm getting is it's like this masculine has been in like this cooker, and now it's like I'm ready. And divine feminine, you might have felt that too. This could be your inner masculine, obviously. When we channel, take this for your inner masculine and inner feminine. Take this for your counterpart connection. Take this for the global collective and what we're seeing play out globally with regards to the ascension journey. It's all connected. But I feel like divine feminine, you might have felt this too, where you were in a sense of stillness. You were in a sense of hibernation mode, in a sense of hermit mode. I myself, like I said, I'm just coming out of like this hiatus, this hermit energy, where we're gonna like picking up on everything new, continuing to do our work and continue to evolve our work. That's what I feel like is coming from the masculine. I feel like this is this newfound sense of self, newfound sense of confidence. And I'm also getting the word leadership. And leadership doesn't mean presiding over. This is a leadership of self. And we've been talking over the past couple of months how important it is to be the embodied leader, how it is to embody spiritual truth by being a leader by example. It's who you are, not necessarily what you do. And obviously your actions reflect who you are, and that's where you lead by example, but it's your energy. It's your energy that is what is shifting everything. It's your energy that connects with people. And so with this King of Wands energy, this feels like having the confidence to direct your own destiny, having the confidence to be the leader of your life rather than almost, I'm hearing, bowing to what others expect of you and even what you expected of yourself in the past. So this divine masculine, let's bring this down a second. This divine masculine might have had people around them who had expectations for them. For some, this could be around career. You know, they have to make this amount of money, or they have to have this kind of job or this title for a career, right? Especially because masculines, especially males, masculines are very physically oriented. So it's a lot about the perception, material, life stuff. So how much money do they make? What's their title? What's the prestige? What's the, the level that they're at? That kind of thing. Well, that's not how it works. Spirituality, spiritual life, the soul doesn't care about that stuff. The soul cares about how authentic are you to you. The soul cares about how are you embodying your sacredness? How are you loving? How are you caring? How are you showing up for yourself in true authenticity from that soul space? So it doesn't care about the material. The material is the reflection. It comes after. It's who are you inside. And so part of directing your destiny is recognizing yourself as a leader of that destiny and not being beholden to what society or family obligations are, or what maybe other people in your life have to say, or even your own expectations of yourself. So in that regard, it could be this is who you expected you to be, and life is taking you in another direction. But are you going to resist that, or are you going to listen to the soul of yourself? Are you going to get caught up in ego of this is the direction that I think I have to be in, or that I think I have to go, or this is what I think I have to do, or this is where I'm being led? And so this embodied leader is very much connected to their intuition and trusting themselves, trusting their intuition now. This is all alignment. I just keep seeing a thread from the mind, the higher mind, to the heart. That's what alignment is, and they just showed it coming online. We've channeled that before too. That thread coming online, this is alignment of the self. What's going on for the divine masculine? Yeah, what I say, directing your destiny, absolutely. The Chariot is all about taking the reins, directing your destiny. Now, in our society, this gets misconstrued as control over other people, control over my environment, control over. Well, that's not the sacred road. The sacred road is recognizing that I'm only in control of myself, and not even my environment, but my understanding and response, not reaction, but response to my environment, by going within, by finding that balance within, by directing myself, by leading myself. And that's what this energy is all about, directing your destiny, but from that place of inner balance. And again, balance is the mind and the heart, not one over the other. Letting soul guide and taking action from that soul-given place. Tell me more about the masculine here. Two of Cups and the Page of Wands. Yeah, and I feel like it's the divine feminine. So as they're connecting to their intuition, for example, as they're connecting to their sacred self, they're also connecting to the feminine energy. Feminine energy is all about intuition. Feminine energy is all about inner guidance. So they are connecting to the feminine energy. And as a result, I do feel like they're connecting to their external divine feminine. This could be just energetically, or this could be in the physical too, if there's communication and conversations that are happening, where maybe they are connecting with you much more deeply, where they are much more open to what you have to say, much more open to your communication, much more open to your self-expression. The thing about trusting inner guidance is that we can allow ourselves to receive support and insight and guidance from other people, but at the end of the day, it's our responsibility. That's where we are responsible for ourselves. We direct our own destiny. We can take opinions and we can be positively influenced by other people, but at the end of the day, we're responsible for our own actions and how we lead our lives. And so I feel like in this energy, the divine masculine is recognizing the feminine as being a lighthouse, as being a beacon, as having been a support for the masculine. I don't feel like that was always the case. I feel like there was a time where they pushed the feminine away. There was a time when they, in their ego is what I'm getting, in their resistance, in their fear, in their feelings of unworthiness specifically, they wouldn't allow themselves to receive that love specifically from the divine feminine, and that love being support, that love being a shining light, that love being the lighthouse for them. Now it feels like they're connecting much more deeply, energetically and or otherwise, and I feel like that's taking a step forward for them in their life. With the Page of Wands here, this feels like a step forward, maybe even a step forward towards the feminine. But with the Two of Cups here, this Two of Cups it's a sharing, it's a harmony, it's I water you and you water me, and now I understand what that means. There's not a neglect of each other. There's an honoring of each other. This is true soulmate energy. And when I say the word soulmate energy, I mean that too with twin flames. This is what I call the twin soul. So I tend to differentiate between the twin flame matrix is more like twin flames. Same person, could be the same person, could be a different person for some. We've talked about that in my book. We've talked about that in previous readings. But we all start with the twin flame matrix journey, where there's triggers, where you're understanding the connection, you're understanding the journey, or you're just getting started, and there's all the obsession and the what is this connection, and I'm feeling so much, and there's so much phenomena. And then as you go through your higher heart ascension and anchor into that, and you might go between worlds, there might be a transition. As you anchor into that higher heart ascension, then there's a much more conscious approach to the relationship, a much more conscious approach to the connection and the journey itself. So it's healthier communication, conscious communication. When there's disharmony, there's repair between the two. So it's a much more conscious interaction. So I call it the twin flame because it's very tense and heavy, and there's friction and not quite understanding everything that's happening. But the twin soul is like the soulmate energy, where it's harmony and more peaceful, and there's that high level of compatibility. You've always had that compatibility, but again, your human gets in the way, right? So these are just labels in which I'm trying to differentiate between the energy of what is felt. So when I'm saying soulmate, it's not this is your soulmate. I'm saying it's the twin flame energy that feels more harmonious, that feels more conscious, that feels more like that peaceful energy that the soulmate brings, rather than the friction that tends to start off the twin flame journey. Does that make sense? So this is the first step towards that harmony, towards that conscious connection. And what's on the other side of that? You have the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Ten of Pentacles is all of this happening within the physical. Ten of Pentacles is integrating those desires, those wishes, integrating all of this energy into something solid in the physical. Beautiful. What's going on for the divine feminine? What's going on for the divine feminine? We have the Five of Pentacles. We have the Strength card. We have the Page of Swords. This Page of Swords is giving me this energy of clarity, new perspectives, new understanding. And that's what I was talking about with this between two worlds. And for some, it's moving out of the twin flame matrix where you're focused on the physical, you're focused on your counterpart, and you're moving into that, what I call again, the higher heart ascension, which is a much more conscious understanding where you're focused on the energy of the connection, the union within, versus the lack or scarcity, or the this is not happening in the physicalness of it all. You're focused more on how you feel inside and your inner knowing. And that's the between two worlds energy. For others, it's deepening that higher heart ascension, where you're going even deeper into your connection and connecting deeper to your counterpart's higher self, for example, and nurturing that inner world that you share together, nurturing that union that you share together. So what I feel with this Page of Swords energy is new perspective, new clarity around this energy. And I'm getting that with the Five of Pentacles, which is all about scarcity. It's all about neglect, abandonment, feeling left out in the cold. That's all scarcity energy, right? But with the Strength card in between, you are overcoming that. That's all ego. When you're looking at your physical world and you're looking at the scarcity, you're looking at the lack, you're looking at, well, he's not here, or he's not talking to me, or he's not calling me, or you're in that place of resentment and fear and feeling abandoned and feeling left behind, etc. That's all ego. And again, I want to reiterate, I say that without judgment. We have all been there. But again, part of your journey is understanding that that's a reflection of maybe beliefs that you hold, that you can be abandoned, or where you were abandoning yourself. Beliefs or patterns that are playing out. Maybe there was abandonment in previous relationships or in your upbringing, or there was neglect or rejection that created some kind of a root belief in you. That's all ego. Ego replays patterns as a type of survival mechanism trying to prepare you. Well, the soul is stronger, and that's what overcoming the ego is all about, and what your ascension journey is all about, is recognizing that your soul knows the way. Your ego tries to say, well, this isn't happening, so this isn't going to happen, or this is happening, so this means this. Well, that's all ego trying to prepare. That's all ego trying to form a plan, right? That's all ego trying to get to the end of the story and predict the end of the story, when your soul is literally the one writing the story. And part of your superpower is being present, and that's where life gets really joyful. That's where your journey gets really joyful, when you are present in that love, because you are purely love. Anything else is patterns. Anything else is beliefs, and you get to change the pattern. You get to change the belief anytime you want. Anytime you want. And just like we've said for the masculine, you never really make a change unless you get tired of your own bullshit. It's that quote from Liz Gilbert or Brené Brown, I can't remember. But it's only when you get tired of your own bullshit that you're ready to make a transformation. Well, it's only when you get tired of sitting in that hurt and sitting in that pain that you say, you know what? I'm ready for something different. I don't want to believe this anymore. I don't want to replay this pattern anymore. Let me do the inner work. Let me see where I can shift this. It doesn't come from somebody making the change for you. It doesn't come because your counterpart is communicating with you. It comes within you, from within yourself. It's all a reflection of you. That's the overcoming of the ego. Ego is, what is it that you're identifying with? And the more that you identify with soul, the more you quiet the ego. I don't believe you have to kill the ego, but you quiet the ego. We have ego as part of our human selves. Our ego is what helps us identify with the world as humans. But we don't have to identify with that aspect of us anymore, with the pain aspect of us anymore, with the survival aspect of us anymore. You can connect in your present state, in that place of love, through the soul. That's the shift in perspective. And the more that you shift this perspective, look at how you're looking at each other. These two pages, this is where your beginning is. Shifting your perspective with regards to your counterpart, with regards to your journey, with regards to your connection, with regards to yourself, allows you to see your journey with your counterpart differently, allows you to see your counterpart differently, right? It's this lyric again, and I don't know the lyric by heart, so I keep bringing it up. Will I still have a place inside your heart when you see who I've become? Would you love me for who I am, not who I was? Love yourself. Your counterpart will naturally love you. because your counterpart is a reflection of you, and they've just been showing you the mirror, maybe where you haven't been loving yourself, maybe where you've been neglecting yourself or abandoning yourself. And as I'm doing this channeling, I understand, because I have been through it. I have thousands of readings and personal shares here on my YouTube and over now on my Substack about my personal journey with this. So I say this from experience too, as I'm channeling this information. It's coming from my own experience too, that I understand how hard that is. But I also know what it's like on the other side, when you have shifted that within yourself, when you have loved yourself so much, and to see that love reflected, and reflected in the world, reflected in your animals, reflected in your family, reflected in your friends, reflected in your work, not just in romantic connection and relationship, not just with your counterpart. They'll be the ultimate mirror. They'll, in some ways, they're the ultimate initiation. But don't just focus on them as all there is when it comes to love. Love is inside of you, and that love is expansive, and that love is reflected in everything in the world. But who are you loving? Are you loving yourself as you are now? And if you're not fully, and not fully present with that love with yourself, that's where the inner work continues to be. And so, if you're interested, we have a lot of resources in our Ascension Connections portal. I also have one-on-one sessions. I also have the Sacred Membership, where we go deep into healing and clearing and shifting this within ourselves. So if you just want to watch the readings, that's perfectly fine. That is up to you. But I really encourage, if you really want to see a shift within yourself, within your life, and even within your connection, it all comes down to that shift and that transformation within yourself. So here you have the masculine looking at the feminine. And what I like about this Page of Wands is they're reflecting, this is all cerebral. This is all with the swords energy. It's all beliefs. It's all within your mind, right? What I like about the Page of Wands is as you shift this, there's the movement. He's reflecting that shift within you. He's reflecting that transformation within you. He's taking that step because you've already taken that step within yourself. The feminine will always lead energetically. And then that's part of trusting the masculine too. You have to trust the masculine. We've talked about that too. This has been coming up with my coaching clients this week, so it's interesting that it's coming up again here. We've talked about this in previous Sacred Union energy updates. There does have to be a level of trust between the two, and if you can't trust your physical counterpart, if they're not in alignment with themselves yet, tune into the higher heart, tune into the higher self, and keep nurturing that inner reality. Keep nurturing that inner union. And your physical world will in some way, in some form, reflect that. Okay? All right, and here is one of my union cards, the Three of Cups. My union card, because it is 2 cups pouring into the third. So where it's like 2 energies of separation, the masculine and the feminine, you pour into the third, which is God's source, which is what holds you. God's source is your ultimate source. It is your ultimate container. It is ultimate love. And so it's not that you lose your identity with each other, but this is now interdependence. You come together both in that state of interdependence and honoring of each other in conscious relationship and conscious connection. Beautiful. All right, I think that is where we're going to end today. Let's just get a final card. Getting drawn to this one. Let's just get a final card of guidance for both. Attune to the divine. Release your blocks. I'm going to take this as for both of you because that's what I'm feeling. I feel like the more that both of you are in tune with the inner connection, in tune with yourself, in tune with your higher selves, that's how the transformation takes shape. That's how the shifts happen. That's how you release those old patterns and who you used to be. And that's where your sacred union comes into being. All right, that's going to be it. Please do, if this resonated with you, please do leave me a comment just to let me know where you guys are in the journey, and if this is resonating with you. That helps me to create a better flow for our Sacred Union energy updates, to know where everybody is on the journey, because remember, these are collective readings. So it helps me kind of tune in better to certain segments of the collective as we go forward. We will have many more collective energy updates, soul path readings, sacred union energy updates coming here in February. We're going to be picking back up where we left off, so make sure that you are staying tuned, subscribing, and commenting, just to help me figure out where everybody is, and make sure that everything is continuing to resonate for you and is helpful for you and your journey. I'm sending you so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon.